If you could just start with like giving kind of a brief intro of yourself and like background and then kind of dive into it, that works.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me get my the presentation set up and we will get this thing going.
Sweet. Are you in Lisbon? Actually, it's probably late. Probably not, right?
No, I am in a small town in Mexico right now.
Very cool.
Yeah, I've been driving through the desert in Mexico all day, so I'm just kind of sunburnt.
Nice. Wish I was doing that.
Okay, killer. We got everybody. Columbia blockchain is here. We get to kick it off, Alex?
Yeah. Feel free. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, awesome. So first of all, thank you for having me on. Super stoked. Been looking forward to this all week. At Index Co-op, supporting university blockchain clubs is a huge priority of mine. I think DeFi protocols need to do even more to support blockchain clubs. We need to do more to onboard students into our protocols, into our DAOs. So super excited to be able to talk to the whole team today and kind of just walk you guys through Index Co-op, what we are, what we do, who we are, and answer any questions there. So the format today, how I will lay it out is we'll do a quick introduction, who I am. I'll run you guys through our slide deck just to kind of familiarize everybody with our product. And then I think it'd be useful, we'll spend the last 10-15 minutes walking through some of the behind the scenes stuff of like how Index Co-op runs, how everything actually happens, where the work actually goes down, and we'll spend some time talking about how people can get involved, how people can learn more, and how people can start contributing. So kick it off. So who am I? Big Sky, Simon. So I went to Hamilton College, graduated 2013 with a degree in philosophy. After Hamilton College, I spent 6 years in the United States Marine Corps as an infantry officer. Was stationed in Hawaii, Japan, and Korea. Spent a year teaching jungle warfare in Japan, and then I finished out in Bridgeport, California, teaching mountain warfare to Marines. And then I got out of the Marine Corps in 2019 to go to business school at NYU Stern. So pretty close to where y'all are at. When I got out of the Marine Corps, I was very focused on doing the traditional finance route. My goal was to go into big time New York City investment banking, and I thought that was the path, right? So I started business school 2019. I spent last summer interning at an investment bank called Evercore doing technology M&A, and I enjoyed aspects of investment banking. I thought people were very intelligent. I thought the work was interesting. But when I got done with the summer, I realized that I really wanted to explore more. And as I was working at Evercore last summer, DeFi summer was happening as well, and I was really diving into really what was going on with the entire DeFi ecosystem and getting more and more involved in various discords, various projects, just learning and starting to build my understanding of the space. So last fall, I started to get very involved with Index Co-op shortly after it was launched, and assumed the role of our business development lead, essentially building out all our relationships across the ecosystem, interfacing with different protocols, different platforms. And since then, I've had just incredible experience really building out our entire business development vertical, and then doing a lot of other leadership stuff across the entire protocol and the entire organization. Since I joined in November of last year, we've had a very successful year. We went from, I think, just over 10 million AUM when I joined to 450 million AUM across our different indexes. We raised $10 million from a number of leading investors, and right now we really have what I would consider to be the most vibrant and the most engaged community in DeFi. So that's a little bit about myself. let's talk about what we are, what Index Co-op is. So Index Co-op, building a decentralized BlackRock. Index Co-op was founded in October of last year by Set Labs with the help of DeFi Pulse. So Set Labs is one of the leading Solidity teams in the United States. And then DeFi Pulse, they maintain the DeFi Pulse website, and they're really one of the leading data providers across DeFi as a whole. Our protocol was formed to really be the go-to market for crypto indexes and to facilitate really every stage of like indexes creation, development, and eventual launch. So right now we are the leading source of on-chain crypto indexes. As I said, investment updated, we have just under $500 million under management. We partner with major third-party methodologists to create new products, and then they act also as our distribution platform for many of our indexes. And then we're backed by essentially all the top investors in the digital asset space: Galaxy, 1KX, Defiance, Sequoia, White Star Capital, One Confirmation, and then a number of others. So what do we do? Delivering and growing robust product suite. So essentially, we launch a broad range of financial products, and that includes passive indexes like the DeFi Pulse Index, which is very similar to like the S&P 500 of crypto. We have the Metaverse Index, which tracks like metaverse, gaming, virtual reality, everything in that bucket, and a number of other passive indexes. And then we also have our exchange traded funds, which offer tokenized exposure to leverage. So essentially what that means is they are a way of abstracting away like a compound or Aave debt position and give you like constant 2x exposure to either BTC or ETH. And then we have a full suite of those that we're rolling out over the next couple of months. So how our business model works is we split the streaming fees, think of it like a management fee, with the methodologists who help us create the indexes, and then that streaming fee accrues to the Index Co-op treasury, and that is controlled by the community. So what we are built on top of a technology called token sets, which is really the best asset management technology in crypto and DeFi right now. Essentially what that is it allows you to hold a basket of ERC20 tokens in one token and be able to trade that token. Those baskets rebalance monthly based on the methodologist inputs for the indexes, and maintain a constant market weighting. So here you can see the DeFi Pulse Index, which contains all the big names in DeFi: Uniswap, Aave, Maker, Compound, Harvest, Badger, Sushi, et cetera, et cetera. And that's really like what powers our protocol. And we work very, very closely with Set Labs to ensure that we're really launching the best in class indexes on top of their technology. Since we were launched last year, we've been very, very successful. And you can see here our total OM is orders of magnitude greater than all our competitors combined. And like the reason for that is it's a couple things, right? So we have a really strong technology platform with Token Set. We have really good products that are developed by the external methodologists like DeFi Pulse that really fill a really clear niche in the market. And then finally, we really have the best community in DeFi. We have a very good model that allows really people from any different background to come learn about our DAO, learn about our organization, and get involved with the ground up and start to really drive results for our community. And that is I think that's something people don't fully realize yet when it comes to DeFi and when it comes to crypto, is like, it's not good enough just to have good engineering or good product. Like, if you don't have a great community in 2021 DeFi, like, don't even bother showing up, because like that's what it takes to win. And you know, what it takes to build a great community that is able to like really produce results like you see in this slide is like, you need really, really good incentive structures. You need really fine-tuned incentive structures that make sense. And you know, I think that's something we've done right from the start and has enabled us to attract really a world-class talent pool of Index Co-op contributors. You know, right now we have, I believe, over 60 contributors distributed across the globe. Some working full-time, some part-time. Several of them are college students. We recently conducted a 6-week internship for college students. I believe that internship had 400 applicants for 6 slots. So I think we're really, really attracting the best talent in the world. Yeah, so to move on, I will hit the DeFi Pulse Index. I think it's a really good analysis of kind of like the products we offer and how they're really compelling to consumers. So I assume everybody on this call is at least somewhat familiar with decentralized finance, DeFi. You know, DeFi relies entirely on software protocols that allow for permissionless and trustless financial activity. The protocols that we include in DPI, they span a number of financial activities: lending, borrowing, trading, derivatives, synthetics, etc. And you know, the real power of DeFi is it eliminates the need for a centralized middleman to control you know, access with these different financial activities. And the thing that really makes index investing super compelling for crypto specifically is like, DeFi is insanely complex and it is growing insanely fast. You know, I work full-time in DeFi. I've worked full-time in DeFi for the last year. And I have trouble keeping up. Everybody I've worked with has trouble keeping up. Like, there's, of the, you know, hundreds of extremely smart people I interact with in DeFi semi-regularly, I would say only 2 or 3 are able to like fully keep up 100% of the time. Like, picking winners is really, really difficult. You know, passive management strategies really enable anybody to invest in this space without the need to dive in super in depth on like a specific protocol and a specific asset. And you know, I think for everybody on this call, like, the value might not be so clear, right? Like, everybody on this call is at Columbia. It's a very selective school. People are very intelligent. Like, for you guys, you know, the people on this call, it might be easy to dive into a protocol and say, hey, like, I understand what's going on. I see the value proposition. But for the vast majority of people in the world, they just don't have time. They don't have the ability to fully dive in. And they need something that allows them to invest in the space without forcing them to like pick a specific winner. Another really big reason why passive management in crypto specifically is so valuable is because it's really expensive to manage a portfolio on Ethereum mainnet. I don't know how many of the people on this call have actually, you know, interacted with smart contracts, have used Uniswap or SushiSwap to trade, but maintaining a balanced portfolio costs gas. It's expensive, and you know, even if you're working with a really large portfolio, it's difficult to manage that in a effective way, and a cost-effective way. By you know, these passive management strategies, like you only have to buy the index once. You don't have to continually pay gas every time you're rebalancing. And then finally, I think what makes crypto investing so interesting, so cool is like, there are a lot of inefficiencies in the market, and there's a lot of idiosyncratic risk, both downside and upside, right? And I think like that can be really good if you are, you're really involved in the market, you're following everything, you're doing it every day. But at some point, there comes a point where it's like, do you want to be exposing yourself to idiosyncratic risk with your entire portfolio every single day? Like at some point, you're going to want to diversify some aspect of your portfolio to a passive strategy that simply tracks the market. And excuse me, that is what makes like passive investing and a product like DPI so awesome for people. These are some of our competitive products. There's really nowhere out there that gives like this kind of exposure to DeFi, especially in passive strategies. So basically, existing crypto indexes fall into three big buckets. So you have your synthetics or derivatives, like what you can buy on FTX or Binance. With synthetics, there's always a liquidation risk, and then there's a high administrative burden. We see like Grayscale, Bitwise, they have a lot of adoption currently from institutions, but there's also a lot of big drawbacks even for those institutions. So, traditional LP funds, they're very liquid. Like you can't just exit the position. They come with multi-year lockups, and that is like, even for institutions, that is not ideal. They also have very high annual fees, 2 to 3% a year or higher. And then also you can't, like on the traditional LP fund, like you can't access all the DeFi Lego blocks. So for example, DPI has $60 million of liquidity on Aave right now. So you can borrow against DPI. You can go long DPI, you can go short DPI. You can use it as collateral if you want to, say borrow 50% of it and yield farm stable coins. You can do a lot of things with it. And you can't really do that with traditional LP funds. And then finally, a lot of our competitors use AMM pools, which is a different model use, and that exposes that exposes token holders to impermanent loss and then the risk of pool collapse because you're actually directly exposed to a liquidity pool by token sets which holds the underlying assets. So as you can see, if you guys weren't already sold, the smarter option is the DeFi Pulse Index. And for the reasons I really just ran over there. So how DPI works, essentially, when you mint a DPI token, it takes the 10 underlying tokens and it locks them in a smart contract. And that smart contract, like that token at any point can be redeemed for all of the underlying. So say you buy one DPI token. Within that token, let's say it holds one Aave, one Uniswap, one Maker, one Balancer. At any point, you can redeem the DPI token for all of the underlying and get the underlying tokens back. It rebalances on a monthly basis based on essentially based on market cap. So as the different weightings of each of the underlying tokens changes, we rebalance based on the new market cap to keep an even distribution across all the assets that are held in that all the assets that are held in DPI. And then finally, it's custodial, so like you control all those assets, right? Like you can always redeem it. You can always like it's always backed. It's not a derivative. There's nothing like weird going on. Like you hold one DPI. One DPI is always exchangeable for whatever whatever the underlying weights are. And then how tokens are selected for inclusion in DPI. There is a full methodology that's built out by DeFi Pulse. Has to be traded on Ethereum mainnet, which is a big one. It must have a certain level of supply on Ethereum mainnet. It has to have been audited. And it also has to have been a protocol that has been out for the last 180 days. So I think, the cool thing here that I think isn't super transparent, that is a really interesting segue. When you're talking about DeFi indexes, one of the most important considerations when you are building those indexes is the liquidity of the underlying assets. And the reason that's super important is, like, as the index grows, more and more of those underlying assets are held in the index. So if you're dealing with like a super low liquidity market, say a token that has like only $1 million of liquidity, that monthly rebalance has huge effects on the pool, especially as the index grows. So it becomes really important for us to only include assets that have like enough underlying liquidity. So that is an interesting like design aspect that isn't super like apparent at the super surface level, and that adds like an interesting degree of complexity. So a good example of that is, say we want to do like a small cap DeFi index of just like the newest projects. That becomes very difficult because many of the newest projects have super low liquidity, and it's very hard to factor those into the index. Another place where that's really difficult is we are in the middle of developing our NFT index that is going to use, fractional NFTs. And that becomes very, very difficult because when you think of like a fractional punk or a Bored Ape or whatever, like the liquidity of those pools is even smaller. So it's a very interesting design space as we figure out how can you make compelling DeFi indexes in these really low liquidity asset classes. Let me skip over that. Okay, how to purchase DPI. Basically, you can mint it on the Token State website. You can buy it on a DEX. We're supported on centralized exchanges like KuCoin, and then you can also buy it OTC from a market maker like Wintermute. Institutions can buy it. Boom, boom, boom. That's there. I'm going to pause. I just covered a ton of stuff. Are there any questions? Anything you guys want to dive in more before we start talking more about the DAO and some of our other stuff? Yeah, David, let's hear it. Did I say that right?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, send it.
Yeah, so my question is actually about the DAO and the incentives. So maybe if you want to take it later.
Yes, okay. You guys, let's talk about the DAO. Let's do it. We did the finance stuff. That was the finance stuff. Let's talk about the DAO and what it is and how to get involved.
So, yeah, I was really curious because you said, oh, we have a really strong DAO, and this is mainly due to the incentive structure. So for like people joining and then adding value, etc. So maybe like comment on that.
Okay, so let's dive in. Did you guys? Can you tell? I just changed it. You should be seeing business development. Is that what you guys say?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So to orient everybody on the DAO and how it works. So what it starts with basically our Discord. So people go to our Discord and there's an introduction channel and they introduce themselves. From there, we have a weekly new joiner call where essentially people join the call and it's an hour just learning about our protocol, what goes on, and how you can help out. From there, we have a quest called the Copper Owl quest, which is like a very basic quest to help people learn about the protocol, learn about the DAO. I think you have to like write an article. There's a couple basic things you do. From there, community members can join different working groups. And you can see here's our Notion, where we organize everything for the protocol. You can see a bunch of our different working groups. We have our talent and operations working group, the business development working group, which I lead, our institutional business working group, product, engineering, growth and marketing, design, governance, Asia Pacific. Everything is laid out there. Each of the working groups has weekly meetings where new community members join the meetings, kind of get up to speed on what those working groups do, and they start to help out and learn more about that working group. at the end of every month, contributors submit a contributor reward sheet, which outlines all the work that they did that month, and then they get paid for it. So let me go and show you guys our contributor reward sheet, just to give you an idea of the work that people are doing and the pay that they are getting. Let's see. Okay, so in our forum, here we have it, September rewards distribution. And basically we're just saying, this is the sheet where we're listing out what all the work everybody did. So you can go to the September rewards distribution, which is a sheet here. And this is all our contributors. And then each of the contributors lists out the different work that they did. And this is a really good way. If you guys are like looking to get involved in a DAO, I would literally spend like a couple hours reading through this contributor reward sheet. I will link it. I'm throwing it in the chat now. Because that's a great example of like, this is the work that people really do in crypto. And you can see what people get paid too. It's very open, right? So someone's, somebody at CatJam did product work, $2,500. Alan got paid $7,000, and you can literally just see the work they did and what they're getting paid for it. And if that's the kind of work you want to do, their name is right there. So if you're a student, the easiest thing to do is reach out to them and be like, hey, what's up? Can you tell me about like the stuff you're doing? So this is all our contributors, all the work they're doing, all their contributions. And that's a really good way of just building context on like what goes into running these projects. Great question. So how do we decide who gets paid? So the working group leaders, so each of these are submitted to a different working group leader. So if you're doing like product work or treasury work, you submit it to the leader of our treasury or our product team or our business development team, and then they allocate based on like the impact of the work you did. We really don't care about, I'll go back to the Notion. We're not super worried about like how much time you did. All we care about is your impact, right? We have a lot of college students who help out and do awesome work and get paid, super competitive, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a month, just based on the awesome work they do and the impact. Like it doesn't matter if you're part-time, if you're going to school at the same time. Like what we care about is like, are you driving results for the protocol and the project? Okay, so group leaders, yeah, so those are the ones that decide. For example, like I lead our business development working group. So, every month I have 20 and like 30 contributors who submit reward sheets to me. And like I work with those people every day. So I have a pretty good idea of like where they fall out on their level of contribution. We have a number of contributors who are like on a monthly stipend just because like they've been involved for a super long time. Like they just have a set area of responsibilities they cover. And then what's it called? And then like newer community members, like that's more, it's a little more variable. So like basically the way I would think about it is like when people are first getting started off at Index Co-op or the DAO, they're usually like getting paid like maybe your first month you get paid like $250, $500 because you're just like, it's literally like an apprenticeship, right? Like you're literally just learning that first month, the first 2 months. And then like when people start to like really crush it after like month 1 or like after 2 or 3 months, that's when they start to like really earn and like, because it's just like any job, right? Like nobody shows up and just kills it on day 1. It takes a little bit of time to get like trained and spun up. Yes, I will shoot the Discord link at the end. It is Index Co-op on our website too. It's on our website, or if somebody can look it up and add it while I'm running this through. Okay, let me run you guys through business development. This is what I do. And I think it gives you guys a really good idea of just like the work that happens in a DAO and like what makes it happen. So this is our Notion board. These are resources, mission, how to get, looking to get involved. So we have like a business development onboarding form that people submit as to just to help us track people to be involved. These are the different initiatives or verticals that we run. Methodologist relations, like recruiting new people to build indexes. DAO treasury relations, we have a massive effort where we sell our indexes to different DAOs across the space. For example, Fay Protocol just bought $50 million of DPI. And that was led, like the guy that led that treasury sale is a student at Yale right now, like same age as you guys, and he led a $50 million sale, like crushed it, which is so awesome. We have university relations, which is something I like am really trying to get spun up. I really want us to have like really good interfaces with all the different blockchain clubs. We have Asia Pacific BD, which is basically all the stuff we do. They just run their meetings on APAC friendly times. So like they're not waking up in the middle of the night to make our meetings. Relationship management is huge for us. We'll spend some time going through that, and we can hit some other key bits. So I will go over the mission of our team. Mission of BDWG is to drive protocol growth, developing relationships, and facilitating partnerships across the crypto ecosystem. BD working group, strongest business development team in DeFi, group of passionate individuals brought together by a love of technology and DeFi. Together we're working to build a better financial system for everybody in the world. Some of the stuff we do, what our overall strategy is. And you can see if we go down to like DeFi partnerships and integrations, which is a major focus of us. Right now, my BD team has chats. Like I am in Telegram chats with every single, I would say over 100 projects right now, like every single major project in crypto with the core teams, just working on integrations, working on different deals just across the entire ecosystem. So you can see like our key priorities. We have a really good relationship with Frax Finance right now, Vesper, working on building liquidity here, talking a lot of Olympus Pro, working on building liquidity there. And like this is like the smallest snapshot, because like if we included everything, it's too big, because a lot of the chats are not like not all the deals are super like happening right now, but like this is some of the major stuff we're working on. And then you can just see, all the stuff that we've been working on lately. Now moving down, DAO Treasury Relations, they've done awesome work here. This is a link to some of their latest deals. What we're working on, Q4 20 million. They've closed that already. I believe, and then they have the full list, like all their recent wins, all the major DAOs that have bought DPI, that have bought our products. And these, like the cool thing about DAO Treasury Relations, like this is literally like it's 2 or 3 kids in university, one guy out of in Colorado who's like a 10-year like sales professional, and they just like crush it every day. Like they're just talking to every single DAO in the ecosystem, helping them get our products. Moving on, so university relations, this is a huge focus of mine. I want us to be really tied in with all the major university clubs. I want us to be sponsoring all the clubs. I want us to be doing talks like this. And like I want Index Co-op to be like the landing spot for people as they're starting to work in crypto, as they're entering. Like we want the best and brightest. And like that is a huge focus of mine right now. So you can see here's some of the major blockchain clubs that we have relationships with. As you can see, Columbia. Like I want that to be 100 clubs by this time next year. 200 clubs. Like that's where it needs to be. Because the thing is, DeFi protocols are only as good as like the talent they're able to onboard. And where is the best talent? It's at university clubs like Columbia Blockchain, like, blockchain UCLA, any of these. That's where it's at. Like, we want to be landing spots. We want university students to come to us and help us and learn and contribute. And like, the reason I'm so passionate about this is, Aziz and Bobby were our BD interns for the last 6 weeks. Like, they came and crushed it for 6 weeks. They were on live deals with us. They were, rolled up their sleeves. They were getting involved. They were able to execute. They were able to set stuff up. I saw the power of it. Like, age and like degree or experience is like no barrier of entry to us. Like, all we care about is like what people bring to the table and that level of energy they bring. Boom, Asia Pacific. As you can see, this whole team just crushes it. They're working on more things than, even I am with our global team, absolutely crushing it. And then this is like, these are all the marketing teams that we work with, all like the major YouTube influencers across the board. Investor directory. So these are all the VC funds that are invested in us. We have really close relationships with all of them. I think VC funds like have gotten a bad rep, not in like across DeFi. Like, we're really trying to change that. We have really good relationships with all these funds. They do just awesome work for us. And we're really lucky to have them on board. And like, that's the other cool thing. Like, the guys and girls I have managing these relationships for Index Co-op, like, they're people that have joined the co-op like 4, 5, 6 months ago, and they're, interacting directly with basically every single one of the top VC funds in crypto, which I don't think that happens anywhere else. And then forum posts. So this is a lot of our stuff goes on our forums. That's where we manage everything. That's a good. I will shoot a link to our forum actually, so y'all can check it out. That's where a lot of our really good, important conversation happens. I know I'm going super fast. I know I'm super high energy. Hopefully I'm not losing anybody. Please let me know if you have questions. Let me know if anything y'all want answered. I can probably pause here. We have about 10 minutes left.
I just have a question about the actual index. So like, how much divergence is there between the price of like DPI and the actual underlying assets?
So that gets arbed out. So that like Wintermute and our other market makers are like working very actively on it, because the thing is, you can always mint DPI for the underlying, right?
Yeah.
And you can always redeem. So it's like, there's so much liquidity on DPI right now. It's like 200 million that like even slight divergence gets arbed out just like super, super fast.
Makes sense.
It's more of an issue. So that's a good question. And it's more of an issue with like smaller, low liquidity indexes. Because that, like, when it's smaller and low liquidity, it's more expensive to mint the new. And you have to, like, it's harder to get like arbitrage trades work like really well at scale, right? Like, that's how you make your money. So it's hard to make money doing like a 100K arbitrage trade, but it's easy to make it, doing a 50 million arbitrage trade. So it's like really a function of how much liquidity you have. Yeah, Noel, I see your hand raised.
Yeah. What's going on, Big Sky?
Hey, what's up?
I just wanted to tell everyone that like the like weekly onboarding calls, that's one of like the best ways to really kind of like learn and get involved. And like that's what everyone's been telling, like hop around DAOs, like that's how you learn, like get in Discords. And this is one of the like best, like well-run ones that I've explored. I was wondering if you could touch on the data index though, because that just launched recently. And
yes,
that's like obviously like DPI, that's kind of the flagship, but I'm a huge fan of MVI and data. And also, what's going on with the MVI Meta Factory drop? Did that I saw that this summer, but I guess it like, is it still gonna happen or no?
So MVI and data are super cool because they're both like community developed indexes. Like the guys who developed them are just like dudes like me who just showed up and like were like, hey, this is a good idea. We're gonna make it happen. Data was just launched. And like I think one of the guys who launched data, Akiba, he's like 19. And he's just like super smart dude, just joined. He was like, hey, we should have like data economy index. Let's make it happen. Graph, data, ocean, a bunch of those, and he launched it. And like those are also like, I would encourage you, like you can interface, like if you like MVI a lot, Artem and Dark Forest, who run the Metaverse Index, are like of the 5 smartest people I know in crypto. They're like in that top 5, and it's not even close. Like, but they're also super good dudes. Like I would literally reach out to them, be like, hey, I love what you guys are doing. Could we spend an hour talking about it, and maybe I help out because they need help. And like they're just super good guys. They love nothing more than talking about it. So that's like the cool thing about how small it still is right now and how open it is. And I think also one part, I'll do Terry and then David next. I think a lot of people like jump around DAOs a lot and never like commit. And I think the way to really learn is like being in 100, like there's a level of like just being in Discords only gets you so far, right? Like just being in Discords and following what's going on, like is good, but how you really level up is when you start doing like the one-on-one calls, when you start going to like the actual meetings, when you start like actually being like committed to like one protocol and like really learning about it and like what makes it tick. And that's like, for me, that's when I started to really level up. I was in like 100 Discords jumping around, and then I was like, I'm going to commit to Index Coop. And that's where like I felt like my learning curve went like really parabolic.
Yeah. Possibly touch on the NYC meetups as well, because I know a lot of there are a decent number of the team that's in New York. And if
we have a huge NYC team. If you guys join the Discord, I think there's an NYC meetup channel in there. I've been to a bunch of those guys, like, a bunch of the guys and girls at the New York City team are like some of my best friends. Like it is an awesome crew. They do a ton of super fun stuff. So I would definitely check that out. Terry.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, like we also do grant payouts as well.
Yeah.
How do you guys think of deciding like the level of impact something is created? Is there some sort of framework, or like how do you develop that sort of standardized framework?
So I think that's a good question. Basically the way we're like, this is like a work in progress, right? And it's weird. So the framework I laid out of just like a working group leader, like allocating, it actually has worked really well for the last year. Like it's not complicated. Like we didn't do any of these like coordinates or anything. Like it was just literally just like, yeah, I think, that's about $3,000 worth of work for like 5,000. And like, it sounds like scarily simple, but like, I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, man, we pay like 300 people a month with 0 issues on this. I think what we're moving towards though, that is probably going to be like the actual level up, is like a core contributor base that get like a yearly salary ish with like locked governance vested tokens. And then other like semi full-time group that's managed like coordinate style, or like kind of what we're doing now. And then a bunch of like smaller bounties for like newer community members. That's like what we're moving towards, but it's like, I don't think anybody's really answered it yet. Like it's still a, what's it called? Like a work in progress a little bit. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Like literally the crazy thing about the DAO and how fast it's moving is like literally everything I've laid out like gets improved every month. Like every single month. And like people come and like, it's so funny. Like I'll have like some college kids, like 19, he'll come and he'll be in my Discord and he'll just be like hitting me up all the time. And I'll be like, will you stop annoying me? And then like one day it'll be like, wait, that is just an awesome point. We're doing that. Let's make it happen. And it's just like a huge change. And I see it happen, and it's so cool. And like all like the new energy that comes in, and like all the new change that people do, and like how they really make big impacts.
I guess on note of that, like compensation framework, I'm kind of curious if you, or if any DAO that you know of has ever tried some sort of like governance mechanism for that compensation framework. Maybe like retroactive funding, something like that. Has that ever been attempted?
We are trying that, actually. It's funny you say that. We're doing that. We're working on a major like retroactive community airdrop for the last like contributors from the last year. So that's a big lift right now. I don't think contribution, like you don't want to do like a vote on contribution every month.
Right.
It's just like you gotta like at some point you gotta just be like minimal viable solution. Like let's just keep this thing moving. But I think for like a major like community airdrop, that would be voted on chain. David.
Thanks for all this, Simon. It's great. Just one question. Like for bigger projects, bigger contributions, do you also run like a grant program, or it's all based on like one-off reporting and reward?
So the short answer is no. Like right now we haven't. It's hard to do bounties and grants when you're small and starting off, because it's like you spend so much time like building out the grant that you're like, I could just do it myself, right? But I think what we're moving towards is like we're at the point in our scaling where we need to start really doing big grants. Especially the thing that's going to help us win long term is as we go to like a multi-chain world where like you have to be on Avalanche, you have to be on Cosmos, you have to be on Polygon, you have to be everywhere. Like the way you could do that, like the only way to effectively like get the developing talent to do that is through grants. So, or like one of the best ways. So that's like very top of mind.
And by grant, I also meant maybe like decentralized grants, right? In which you have contributors that like come in, see that there is a bigger issue that maybe it's gonna take like 2 months to solve, and like they propose a project essentially. You still do this through the process you showed us, probably.
Yeah, we haven't, like, there's nothing that would stop somebody from doing that. We just haven't really seen that.
Thank you.
So yeah, it looks like we're wrapping up. First of all, everybody, thank you for coming on. I appreciated it. I know it's a Saturday. And there's probably cool things to do in New York City right now, but I appreciate everybody coming on. I really hope to see everybody in our Discord. I would, it would be awesome if I see, if a bunch of you guys, like, feel free to ping Alex. We have a Telegram chat with Index Co-op and Columbia Blockchain. Like, definitely get added to that chat. Like, we are here to help. You can find me on Twitter, it's BigSky_7, and if anybody on this call needs, resources, intros, is, trying to find a job in crypto, like, the jobs are out there. Like, every single person in this call, if you want a job in crypto, like, you can get it. I promise you. But like, please use me as a resource, reach out. I will do everything I can to help. And I am pretty busy, but I at least can get you intro to the right person, and get the right conversation going. So, really, really, humbled to help out in any way I can. I've had an incredible amount of mentors who have helped me on my journey. So anything I can do to pay it forward, I am, more than happy to do.
Yeah, thanks so much, Simon. This was fantastic. I'm sure, like, as we're struggling, kind of working on getting lined out off the ground, it's great to see how kind of well organized and productive you guys are.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Alex, thank you for having me. Columbia, cheers. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone.
Of course. See you, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for coming to LedgerFest. Great. Thanks.